So now that we've talked about adding and subtracting polynomials, now we're going to go into multiplying polynomials. So this is a little different because when we are adding and subtracting our polynomials, we never changed our exponents. For example, if we did x plus x, that gave us 2x. Now, if we do x times x, that's going to give us x squared because we're taking those exponents and we are adding them together. So if we were to do x to the third power times x to the fourth power, that would give us x to the seventh. We would do 3 plus 4. If we happen to have any coefficients in front of those x's, for example, if we had 2x to the fourth times 3x to the fifth, we would still multiply those numbers out front. So 2 times 3 would give us 6, and then we would add our exponents. X to the fourth and x to the fifth would become x to the ninth. So it's a little different than our last unit. So I'm going to put that to the side, and I'm going to try this first example. We need to multiply everything within those parentheses times negative 4x to the third. So negative 4 times, there's a 1 out front, is going to give us negative 4. And then the x to the third times the x to the second is going to add to give us x to the fifth. Okay, then let's do the next one. Negative 4 times 3 is going to give me negative 12. And x to the third times an x to the first is going to become x to the fourth, 3 plus 1. And last one, we got to multiply that negative 4 times the negative 4, which is going to give us positive 16. And it was a negative 4x to the third, but we're not adding any more x's over here, so we're just going to bring down that x to the third. It's not going to change. Okay, if you want to pause the video and try the two down below, go ahead and do that right now. Okay, now that you've tried them, let's go over it. So on the first one, we needed to distribute and multiply times that negative 2x to the second. So negative 2 times 1 gave you negative 2. And x squared times x squared, you add those exponents, giving you x to the fourth. Okay, then the next one, negative 2 times 3 gives me negative 6. And x to the second times an x to the first is going to give you x to the third. Okay, last one, negative 2 times 4 gives you negative 8. And then there was no more x's, so it's going to stay x squared. Example B, we're multiplying by negative 4x. So negative 4 times 2 gives me negative 8. And x to the first times an x squared gives me x to the third. Then negative 4 times negative 3 gives me negative 12. And x to the first times x to the first gives me x squared. Then negative 4 times 5 gives me negative 20. And there's no more x's, so it's just going to stay the x. Okay, so let's try some more examples. This one looks a little different. Now we are doing a binomial times a binomial. Before, we only had one thing out front that we were multiplying times everything inside the parentheses. So this time, you can do this two different ways, and I'm going to show you both ways, and you can decide which way you would like to do. So the first way is just kind of like what we did on the last example. We're just multiplying everything times everything using those rainbows. So the 2x has to multiply times everything inside that other set of parentheses. So 2x times an x is going to become 2x squared. Then 2x times negative 5 becomes negative 10x. And we cannot forget to multiply the 4 times both things in the other set of parentheses. So I'm going to multiply 4 times x, which is going to give me 4x. And 4 times -5 is going to give me -20. Now that I've multiplied everything times everything, I have to make sure that my answer is in standard form and it's as simple as possible. So I want to look if there's any like terms that I can put together. So I see that -10x plus 4x can go together, giving me a -6x in the middle. And I have my answer written in standard form, so it is done. The other option that you can do, I'm going to do the same problem another way, is you can use the box method. So I'm multiplying 2 things times 2 things. So I'm multiplying a 2x plus 4 times an x minus 5. You may have seen this before when multiplying something else, or maybe in science you've seen this, but it's the same process. We are multiplying in this box the 2x times the x. The things that coincide with that box are going to be multiplied times each other. So that gives me that 2x squared. Then in this top right box, I'm multiplying the 4 times the x. So that's going to give me 4x. And then in the bottom left box, I'm multiplying the 2x times the -5, which gives me -10x. And then in my last box, I'm multiplying the +4 times the -5, which gives me that -20. Now, when you do this, your like terms are most likely going to be diagonal from each other. So we talked about on the last one when we did the same problem that these two were like terms. So what you're going to do is take those like terms and you're going to add them together, which gives you a -6x. So now that I've combined them, I can write out my same answer that I got on the last one. I had a 2x squared, and then that -6x that I combined, and a -20. All of my answers are there, and I make sure that I write it in standard form. Okay, if you want to pause the video and try the problems below, you can do so now and use either method you would like. Now that you've tried that, I'm going to go ahead and do these with you just to make sure you got them right. I personally like the box method best myself, so I'm going to use the box method. If you decided to use rainbows, that's fine as well. We should get the same answer. So on this one, I'm going to draw my 2 by 2 box because I'm multiplying 2 things by 2 things. So I had a 5x minus 4 and a 2x plus 1. Some people may ask if it matters which, if you put 1 on top and 1 on the side, if it matters which one goes where. It does not. You should still get the same answer. Okay, so I had a 5x times a 2x, which should give me a 10x squared. Okay, then I had a -4 times a 2x, which should give me a -8x. And then I have 5x times a +1, so that's going to stay 5x. And then last box is a -4 times a +1, so that's going to be -4. So now that I put all of my boxes in, I can see if I have like terms, which my diagonals are like terms, so I can do 5x plus a -8x, which will give me -3x. So when I go to write out my answer, I had 10x squared minus 3x minus 4. And my answer is in standard form, so I am done. Okay, on the next one, we have 3x minus 5 times a 2x plus 4. So I'm going to multiply each of my boxes out, see what I get. 3x times a 2x is going to give me 6x squared. Negative 5 times 2x is a negative 10x. 3x times 4 is a 7x. And negative 5 times 4 is negative 20. Now that I have everybody in there, I'm going to add my like terms, which are 7x and negative 10x. So 7x minus 10x would be negative 3x again. So my answer is 6x squared minus 3x minus 20. Again, you can use either one of these methods, but probably I would recommend using the box method, especially when we continue on this unit. It might help you down the road. Okay, on this example, now we're multiplying a trinomial times a binomial. So I have to multiply 3 things times 2 things. On this one especially, I like using the box method because there's a lot of stuff happening and I don't want to lose track of what I'm doing. So on this one, I'm going to show in the box. If you want to go with the rainbow, you still can. Since I'm doing 3 things by 2 things, my box needs to change. I need 3 spots by 2 spots. So that x squared plus a 2x minus 1 goes up there on mine. And a 3x and a plus 4 is going to go on the side for me. Okay, so now I got to multiply everything out. X squared times 3x is going to give me 3x to the third. Remember, you are adding your exponents. 2x times a 3x is going to give me 6x squared. Negative 1 times 3x is going to give me negative 3x. Down to the bottom is x squared times a 4, so 4x squared. 2x times 4 is going to be 8x. And last one, negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. So again, I'm looking for my like terms, and it looks like the x squareds can be added together, as well as the x's can be added together. So 4x squared plus a 6x squared is going to become 10x squared. And 8x plus a negative 3x is going to become a 5x. So I got to write out all of my answers. That 3x to the third didn't go with anyone. My 10x squared is after I combine my like terms. Same as my positive 5x after I combine my like terms. And then that negative 4, I didn't go with anybody else. And my answer is written in standard form, so I am done. If you want to pause the video and try to do the bottom 2 on your own, you can do so now. So now that you've tried those bottom 2, let's check how you did. I'm going to use the box method again. So on this one, I'm still doing 2 things times 3 things. So I'm going to make my box accordingly. So it was a negative 3x squared plus a 4x and a minus 7. And then my binomial was 2x minus 5. So let's start multiplying. Negative 3 times 2 gives me negative 6. And then an x squared and an x becomes x to the third. 4x times 2x is a positive 6x squared. Negative 7 times 2x is negative 14x. Down to the bottom, we have negative 5 times a negative 3x squared. That's going to become a positive 15. And then there was no more x's, so it's going to stay x squared. 4x times a negative 5, it looks like negative 20x. And then -7 times a -5 is going to become a positive 35. So again, I need to combine my like terms, which look like they're on the diagonals again. So 15x squared is going to go with a positive 6x squared. And negative 20x is going to go with a negative 14x. So this one, I'm going to move all the way up here just so I have space. 15 plus a 6 is going to give me 21x squared. And then negative 20x plus a negative 14x is going to be negative 34x. So now that I have all my like terms together, let's write our answer. Negative 6x to the third, a positive 21x squared, a negative 34x, and a positive 35. Make sure your answer is written in standard form, which it is, so we are done. Okay, on the next one, I'm going to do box method again. We have 3 things times 2 things. So I need a 3 by 2 again. Okay, so I have a 2x squared, a positive 3x, and a negative 4. And then over here, I got negative 3x squared and a positive 1. So let's multiply out our boxes. We get 2x squared times a negative 3x squared is going to be negative 6x to the 4th. 3x times a negative 3x squared is going to be negative 9x to the 3rd. Negative 3x squared times a negative 4 is positive 12x squared. 1 times 2x squared is a 2x squared. 3x times 1 is 3x. And negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. So we're looking for our like terms. This one is a little tricky because our like terms are not diagonal from each other. That x to the 4th doesn't go with anyone. X to the 3rd doesn't go with anyone. 2x squared is going to go with 12x squared, which is going to become 14x squared. 3x doesn't go with anyone, and neither does negative 4. So we only had that those one set of like terms. So we got to write out all the things that we have. Negative 6x to the 4th, negative 9x to the 3rd. Then we combine those like terms to get positive 14x squared. Then we had that positive 3x and that negative 4. And our answer is written nicely in standard form, so we are done. Okay, last example of this section, we have an iPhone has a screen that has a width of x and a height of 1.8 times the width. The outer dimensions of the screen are shown. Write an expression for the portions of the phone that are not occupied by the screen. Assume that the phone is rectangular. So what they told us in the directions was the area of the screen. So let me label that in a different color for us. So they were saying that this is x. Oh, sorry. That is 1.8. No, I was right. That is x. And the width is 1.8. So what we have to do is we need to find the area of the entire phone. And we need to find the area of the screen, and they want us to take out that area of the screen to just see how much the area of this black part around the screen is. How much area is that area that is in yellow? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first figure out what is the area of the entire phone. So let's figure that out. Area of phone. Now remember, when we're finding area of a rectangle, like they told us, we need to do length times width, or width times height. So we're going to take that 1.8x plus 3 and multiply it times x plus 1. Okay, so I'm going to multiply everything times everything. Let's do rainbows on this one. 1.8x times x is going to be 1.8x squared. 1.8x times 1 is going to be 1.8x. Then that 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 1 is 3. Now, if I combine my like terms in the middle, I can put those together. So 1.8x squared plus 1.8 plus 3 would be 4.8x plus 3. So right here is the area of my phone. Now I need to figure out what the area of my screen is. So I'm going to take that x, so area, of screen. We're going to multiply x, which is our height, times our, back up. It told us that our width, that this should be 1.8x. It's times our other side. So we have x times a 1.8x. So that's going to give us 1.8x squared. So now that I figured all that out, I need to figure out what is the phone without the screen. So I'm going to take the area of my phone, 1.8x squared, plus 4.8x plus 3, and I'm going to subtract out what the area of my screen was, 1.8x squared. So if I do that, these two are going to go together, which means 1.8x squared minus a 1.8x squared is going to cancel out, leaving me with 4.8x plus 3. So this right here is the area of that yellow portion where it's just the black part of our phone.